What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I know it's been a while, but we're back. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a public league. I don't even remember how to say this now. It's been so long. How do we do this intro now?
Public league giant.
He's a Simeon legend. He's a public league legend. No, that's not it. He's a wait. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State Tiger legend. He plays second base for. Nope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I wasn't. No, that wasn't it. Hold on.
Just do a new one, man. Don't try to remember it.
He's a Simeon legend. He's a public league legend. He's a Grambling State. No, that's not it.
Too many legends.
Yeah. We gonna figure it out at some point. He played second base for the Grambling State Tigers back in the day. He was all swag. He is none other than Brandon Williams, aka Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft guru, analyst, expert, whatever you want to call him. He's the greatest bowler in the history of amateur bowling. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM.
Not this weekend.
No,
not this past weekend. Oh
man.
Lord.
Man, it's been too long, fellas. It's been way too long. It's been we just looked it up. The last episode that we did was on March 12th. It is now June 23rd. Is that right?
Yeah.
June 23rd.
Yeah.
So we're going, man, 3 months, man.
3.5.
Yeah.
4 months, man. So it's good to see you guys, man.
Man, good
Likewise.
to see you guys
Good to be
too,
back.
man.
Yeah.
I even had
Good
one of our biggest fans, Teresa Thompson, looked at me sideways in Detroit, the tournament, like, y'all, what is going on? What is the deal? What is going on with Easy Smoke and the GM?
Rob was asking me from Easy, or no, not from Easy Smoke, from what is
Super
that
Duper.
podcast called? Super Duper
Super
podcast.
Duper.
How do I forget that? See, that's like I'm sick, man. I'm battling. He asked, he's like, what are y'all doing? Where y'all at, man? I said,
Man,
we coming back. We gonna come back. We coming
look,
back. I promise. The show is not over.
Everybody can blame Smoke.
No, it wasn't just you.
Wow.
It wasn't just you. It was
Life be lifing, man.
Smoke had baseball season. I know, man. My schedule's been all over the place, with a lot of stuff going on. So it was a lot of things going. But we're back. That's all that matters now. Let's start. Smoke. We got to congratulate Coach Smoke and the Simeon Wolverines on an outstanding season. Sectional Illinois Class 3A sectional champions. They got to the Super Sectional and lost a tight game to St. Lawrence 2-1 in that Super Sectional. So basically, that's for those that don't know, it's the final 8, the Elite 8 of baseball. That's a huge accomplishment. And so shout out to you guys over on 83rd and Vincennes. That's a good season, man.
So
Man,
good.
Outstanding.
Appreciate it.
Outstanding. Beat my Kenwood Broncos on the way there. So wasn't too happy about that, but no, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff in just your second season. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it was something we talked about as a program to start the year, and to see it all play out the way it did was surreal. Like it was fun. Like that was a fun journey to what we got. And it was a lot of ups and downs. Season had its way of going, but at the end we ended up in a position that we believed we could be, and we gave ourselves a chance. I mean, no one believed that we would go into that game and even compete with St. Lawrence, let alone beat them. And to lose 2-1 and have them on the ropes, like, showed that, when you play the game the right way, you play your game, do everything you're supposed to do in the game of baseball, anything is possible. We came up short, but couldn't be more proud of the team and, overcoming adversity. All year long, we talk about, we spoke on how adversity builds character. That was a message I sent to them every night before a game. When I get him the rundown of what we're gonna do for the game, every message ended with adversity builds character, and we had some moments where adversity played a factor, and it could have broke us as a team, but it only made us stronger in the end. And to be the last CPS school remaining, to be the second team in Simeon history to win a sectional championship is major, and that was one thing I want to stress to the team, like just how big that is, because everyone knows the history of Simeon baseball, and it's a rich history, and so for people to hear that it's only been done one time, people be like, really? Like, come on, that can't be. Like, no, it's only happened once, and for us to do it this year, and only my second year, and it was amazing, man. It was amazing, and now it's just building from here.
Yeah.
Set a standard. Now sectionals got to start being like regionals at Simeon. Something we do in our sleep. So that's the key.
That's it.
Such coach speak there. Yeah. University, you got a message every time. So this guy, I'm so proud of him.
Glenn, I remember though. I remember at the beginning of the season, he was like, I don't know.
I
don't know about this team, man. we got a lot of work to do. And he reminded me. I always thought, the coach speak. Luke, that's exactly what I was about to say. Lou Holtz, back when he was coaching Notre Dame,
this Army team is really going to be tough.
He would have his press conference every week, and no matter who he was against, it could be Bowling Green or Navy, one of the academies. It didn't matter. A Division III school. He would come in there and just say, my guys really aren't practicing well this week, and they've got this running back that is just, man, I think he's the greatest running back of all time. So it's going to be a tough game for us this week. And then of course, the game will come and they come out and smoke Bowling Green 63 to nothing. Every week is that way. So I was Smoke. You got a lot of Lou Holtz in you, man. I see what you're doing.
Man, gotta stay grounded, man. Gotta stay grounded.
Well, let me help you out with that. Sounds like 10% pay raise to me, baby. that's what sound like a pay raise. I'm just saying. Second season, y'all play the contract.
I know how Simeon does, man. They got it over there, man. They got all them programs, football program, basketball, baseball. They're just good in everything, man. So I know the program, man. They got friends of the program over there, no doubt.
I'm sure,
no doubt.
Derrick Rose. Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, good stuff, man.
Yeah, man,
really proud of you. Really proud of you. Yes, sir. So let's see. Where did we leave off? Once upon a time.
It's been so much that has happened.
The world done gone to war.
Man.
Yeah. Let's start off. The NFL draft happened.
Yes.
Apparently, there was a lot of drama in that draft.
I did go to the first day. I was down in Green Bay.
Oh. That's right. What was that like, man?
Dude, it was cool. I thought I didn't know really what to expect because Green Bay's small space, as far as the town goes, and I know how rabid the northern division in football is with Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay, particularly Chicago folks, and everyone, it's really close within driving distance. And the year before was in Detroit, and Detroit did really well, and all three of the four teams made the playoffs. So the interest in this division, the northern division alone, would be enough to bring the neighboring states. I mean, Minnesota and Wisconsin at a grassroots level, they hate each other. So I expect a lot of Minnesota people to come. Like I said, Detroit had a successful season, and the Bears are looking forward to things changing and being new, so on and so forth. So I expected a lot of people to descend on Green Bay. I didn't know how they would handle it. And I promise you, I felt a tighter squeeze at a certain Chicago Fest than I did in Green Bay. And it was, I think the first night, I think it might've been the biggest night, was over 220,000, 230,000 people.
That's a lot, yeah.
And it didn't feel like it. I mean, we got to wherever we wanted to go. Didn't feel crowded. Everybody was cool down there. Nothing seemed to pop off in a negative way. You know, there were things that were accessible. There was some interactive stuff down there. It was a cool time, man. Wasn't too cold, wasn't too warm. You know, wasn't any really inclement weather. It was fun, man, and it was raucous, but in a good kind of way. It was good energy, man. I would it's like, man, dude, if they're all like this, I would love to go to, you know, every city if I possibly could. But it was a good vibe. It really was. And Green Bay fans, I've gone there for a few games. Green Bay fans, they know how to give it to Chicago fans, but it's like good ribbon, man. It's like you can talk. I can talk about you. You can talk about me, but can't nobody else outside talk about either.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yes, it was cool. And I'll tell you this: when the Bears made their pick, I was one of the people with the voice that's like, "What? You got the wrong tight end." I was really pulling for the tight end from Penn State to be taken. But instead, they took the tight end from Michigan. And it took me a while to kind of settle into
it. Wait. So you wasn't. It was the tight end from Penn, or was it the tight end from Georgia?
No.
Tight end from Michigan. They took.
Colston. I know we took the tight end from Michigan.
No, but the Warren, the tight end from Penn State was the number one guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
It's funny because everyone thought that a lot of people, if the Bears were going to take a tight end, they thought it'd be the tight end from Penn State, and that the Colts would take Colston, the guy from Michigan, and they just flipped it, you know. So the Bears took Colston, and then the Colts ended up taking Warren.
I fell in love with Tyler Warren.
Yes,
the USC Penn State game.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that game.
Them. He was beasting.
I mean, he single-handedly beat USC.
I've never seen a tight end do that.
It was ridiculous. I remember watching that game. I put a couple bucks on that game and won some money that day. So that's why I really remember it. But man, I came out of that game like, yo, that dude is gonna be he's gonna be something else. So when he fell to the Bears there, I was like, oh, you gotta take him.
Gotta take it.
I wasn't too mad at it because they were basically braided the same.
But they're different, and it all depends on how you want to utilize them. And I think we have to go with Bears head coach, in terms of how he knows he wants to utilize the tight end position. Just because I might think you can do a lot of different more. I think Tyler's more versatile, because he can do so many things. He's such a Swiss knife at the tight end position. But I think Johnson wants someone who can stretch the field and be more dynamic pass catcher, more a dynamic receiver. And so I get it, But Warren, man, like you said, I've seen really good tight end. Bowers is an awesome tight end. I mean, I've seen really, Shockey was a great tight end in college, that I remember seeing. There's some really good tight end. Tony Gonzalez was really nice. There's some really good tight ends, but I've never seen a tight end take over a game like Warren did, and then to consistently still be the main outside of the two running backs. He was their offensive weapon in terms of receiving, and I mean just throwing pass. I mean, so many different things he can do. But yeah, man, it's just funny hearing the people go, oh, and and people laugh at you. Oh, you got the wrong tight end. As they're walking past you. So. Bears are going to Bear and all that kind of stuff. So no, man, it was a fun time. Definitely glad I went. Had a car accident along the way, but hey, other than that,
baby,
yeah, on the way up there, man, a tire, a tire off of a truck was like I couldn't get out the way, man. It sliced underneath my undercarriage and messed up the front part of my grill. I was just lucky that my tire didn't go flat.
Wait, this was on your way up there.
On the way up there, yeah.
So Glenn said, "You know what? No, I don't care.
I'm still getting there.
I'm still going to the NFL.
I'm still
draft.
Getting there."
Well, here's
That's the guy thing. Glenn is.
Here's the crazy thing. It happened. I'm on the expressway and I'm just looking at the dashboard that can read my tires. I'm waiting for something that's, to start PSI to start going down. And nothing happened. It held up for about an hour and a half, whatever. We stopped at an Oasis. get something to munch on, get some gab, blah blah blah. As I'm walking back, my best friend was like, "Oh, dude." I'm like, "Oh, I hate the "oh, dude." I'm like, what? I looked, I was like, "Oh
You know, went
man."
flat.
No. It's just how just the damage, like I told you, the grill was
Okay.
sliced. It's like someone just sliced it. The grill was sliced and the undercarriage, was at the bottom, was hanging. I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, we're lucky. Oh well, too close. You gotta keep going. Worry about it when I get home.
Oh man, see that's how much he loves that draft, man. It's crazy. Luther Burden with the second pick. What do you think about that pickup?
I thought it was interesting. I figured I really thought the Bears should get a third receiver. I wasn't sure if they would do that. And then to get one as talented as he is, as high as they did in the second round. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, we don't necessarily have a dynamic running back that's a receiving running back, but he's big enough to be a receiving running back. And so I think he's going to have a lot on him in terms of what the coach is going to ask him to do. But I think because he's such a good runner with the ball in his hands. He's so dynamic and electric with the ball in his hands. And he's big enough to, if you put him in the backfield, yeah, you think he may attack the perimeter, but every now and again with his size, you can play him like Deebo Samuel. So we've seen so much with what the 49ers have done with athletic receivers with some size. And I think we're going to see some of that. So I think it's a really, really, really clever pick. And him being right there, I think this offense has the potential to be explosive once it understands what it needs to do to be that way.
Third pick, Ozzie Trapillo, offensive tackle out of Boston College.
I thought initially, like, we got another right tackle. Are we going to slide right over to the left side? I know he did a little of that at Tennessee, but I'd really rather him stay there and not have to learn another position. And I'm like, well, we need more line depth, so I'm cool with it. I mean, get a lineman. I guess there wasn't a bigger left. That's what I was thinking. Now, We'll get into OTAs a little bit later, but as this young man has become part of the Bear organization and with some of the mini camps and stuff, it looks as though he has a really good shot at maybe, I'd say, if not at the beginning of the season, maybe by early mid-season, maybe being Bears starting left tackle. He might be the starting left tackle, especially if Braxton Jones' ankle isn't as good as it needs to be, and or he continues to struggle with physical pass rushers. That's been his issue. If you don't have a good ankle, I don't know how good you can anchor against, physical guys when that's been your problem to begin with. This guy's a big dude. You're not moving this guy.
I was a little worried the fact that he's 6'8".
Yeah, but he's flexible.
I was like, oh,
right.
You talk about, those defensive ends getting leverage.
Getting
low. Yeah, that was a worry. But when you look at him, I saw some video on him at talking about OTAs. He looks the part. Looks the part. Looks very athletic.
Yes.
He can move.
Yes.
Tends to when he gets into a stance, gets a good base under him. Now obviously they haven't been in pads yet.
Sure.
So we'll see. But he looks it so far from what I've seen.
He looks like a nice building block.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but most important, like Jim said, the depth aspect is if he chose not to be ready today, that adds to the depth though. So that's a key. That's a key piece.
And size, man, you need some size, and he's not lacking in that. And because those guys out of that program, man, they're pretty fundamentally sound. You don't really hear. There's certain programs where when the offensive linemen, when they come out, it's not, if they don't make it in the league, it's not because they don't know what they're doing. It's just because maybe they don't have the
physical tools.
Yeah, the physical tools to maintain. But more times than not, even the average ones, quote unquote average ones, they stay in the league for some time. So yeah, I thought that was a needed. I don't want to say needed's the word, but a necessary pick.
Yeah, and hey, that's where one Ryan Poles went to school as well, offensive tackle.
Yeah,
he's one of them outliers.
Yeah.
that
I joke.
it wasn't fundamentals or skill. It was brains. I see. He's the
I
GM.
I joke. So what did you give the overall preliminary grade
I
for this year's draft?
I really liked what the Bears did, and I think it was one of the more understated, solid draft, particularly considering what they did in free agency and how they were able
That
to play off of that. So
that
for
was.
me, what are you gonna say, B?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I should
Because
say
that was huge.
yeah. So I think as a complementary aspect to the free agency moves, I gave it at I'm like A minus B plus. I really there wasn't because I like the linebacker they got, Hippolyte out of Maryland.
Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you need. I mean, that dude. I mean, that's the kind of athleticism you need at that position.
Was
And
4.43 speed out of
yeah,
at
dude,
linebacker.
that's
Damn.
ridiculous. And he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
And he plays with a lot of intelligence out there in terms of football IQ and acumen, and he's not really out of position a lot. For someone that fast, it's easy to run yourself out of a play. And he may do that a little bit as a rookie, but I think getting him now helps because he can learn from two really solid guys how to play the position. And when you have that kind of intelligence and understanding and know-how paired with the athleticism he has, he's a potential steal. So it's a really prescient pick, I thought. Getting the running back, you get a little more power, someone to do something. I mean, I think if there's any area where I thought the Bears weren't able to take advantage, and that may have been because other players were taken right before the Bears were going to get to them, I thought running back with as deep a running back class as this particular class has been, I thought we didn't get a dynamic runner, but I thought I watched this guy Kyle Malagai play at Rutgers, being in the Big Ten and having be able to do some stuff at the Big Ten Network. They talked about him a lot. I got to see him. I normally wouldn't pay attention to Rutgers, and I'm like, man, this
But
dude knows how.
you gotta watch that 4 o'clock Rutgers
Right,
game, right?
exactly.
On a
but
Saturday
on a
at the Big
Saturday,
Ten Network.
exactly. That's the game that's the game they
Right,
can get.
right.
But this guy, he's so fundamentally sound. His pass pro is really good. He doesn't make mistakes. He knows where to be. He's efficient when he runs. He's got better speed than you expect. He hits the hole hard. He carries guys. He runs with power, runs with surety. He's got good contact balance. Doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's dependable. These are assets and attributes you want from a running back position. And he may not be that dynamic running back that you have, but I'm not saying he's David Montgomery, but he's that fundamental bedrock running back that you can count on to get you to 2 yards when you need one, get you 3 yards when you need two. So I like his potential on the team. So man, I think they addressed as many things they could. Again, they didn't get the dynamic edge rusher that you might want, but I think they feel good about what they did when it comes to free agency and having a player that is solid, that can be good against the run and the pass. And I think they're expecting Booker to be more advanced and give that explosion off the edge. But getting Shamar Turner, I thought, no, just get the right one, right, Shamar?
Yeah, defensive tackle.
Right. Getting him, I thought, I'm like, man, dude, that is so great because he's a little Grady to me. We get Grady have Grady for 2 years, potentially. Maybe a third if possible, but for at least a solid 2 years, and this guy can learn everything and just be a clone of him. He could be a little brother to that guy, and so I thought again addressing an area that wasn't weak but needed more depth, and so now you've got a really good interior defensive tackle tandem or trio really, and it gets you to where you get that rotation going.
Right, get him in and out.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
So I really I will say this. I think along with the grade that I felt, I thought you really sense Ben Johnson in this draft. You really got a sense of these are draft picks we're making with a purpose, and not saying that all the ones the polls did were purposeless. I don't mean to imply that, but I have a vision fashioned with the things that I need. And Coach Allen, it seemed like these things were addressed. There are times with polls where I think at times certain areas weren't addressed that they needed. Like it didn't quite coincide with what Eberflus needed on defense when it came to the draft. It didn't quite coincide with everything
what the
the
offense
might need, particularly offensive line, that kind of stuff. So, and then free agency in the draft really complement each other. I think out of all the 32 NFL teams, when you combine free agency and the draft, I think the Bears had one of easily top 5, I think arguably top 3 offseason.
Wow.
And this, especially when you throw in the coaching staff too, it really catapults the Bears up there. Now, what does that mean when you win the offseason? That means you have potential to be better. So do better is what it boils down to.
Well,
and that's what the Bears are going to be.
It was 3 straight off seasons.
Yeah.
3 straight, winning off seasons. So hopefully that translates to something.
3 straight winning off seasons?
I'd say maybe 2.
No, you got the trade of the first pick to get DJ Moore and everybody. That was 1.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You were able to get Caleb.
Okay, you won that. But getting Caleb Williams, was that a win of the offseason? He was
just, well, just Caleb. You got to
supposed to be.
I mean, but that was the number 1 pick. I mean,
you got the number 1 pick. You got a Dunze.
2 top 10 picks.
Yeah.
You drafted,
okay.
It's supposed to be a winning offseason.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. Yeah. But why I think this is such a win? A lot of what GM said, the free agency aspect, everything it finally seemed like we had a damn plan.
Yeah.
If like typically we go in a draft, like last year was like, why are we drafting a Dunze? We don't need a Dunze in this draft. We need something else. But now this year, because of what we did on the O-line and free agency and things of that nature, we was able to draft a tight end and then a receiver in the first and second round. And it didn't come off to the masses like, what the hell are the Bears doing? Only thing that came off was we took the wrong tight end. It wasn't that we took a tight end. We took the wrong tight end. But it's like, it seemed like everything, okay, it's like, okay, you see the vision now. Versus in the past, it was like, okay, we got Caleb and we got to get another weapon for him. Okay, but what about the protection for him?
Well, that makes sense. I'll differ a little bit. I think getting a Dunze was fine. It was afterwards you got a punter.
that too. Yes, that was
offensive lineman from Yale who's injured, and then you had to go back into the draft, and you use a lot of your draft picks to get journeyman offensive linemen, not solid offensive linemen who had a good career, journeyman offensive linemen, and then you use another draft pick to get an aging wide receiver who has an injury history, who might just be for 1 year, who's lived and played his entire life in California. So those things, to your point, those things didn't mesh. They didn't make sense.
Glenn, you're gonna stop talking about my 4th round punter, who was the MVP last year, man. Stop talking about Torrey Taylor.
Hey, when you go down and get a Foster's beer with him, and since he's an Aussie.
Man.
Oh man, that's my guy, Torrey Taylor.
Torrey Taylor.
I don't care what round he was picked in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that. I ain't gonna say nothing. Not gonna say nothing. Even though that's nothing against Torrey Taylor.
No,
not throwing shade at Torrey Taylor.
No,
just you don't take a punter in the 4th round. That's all I'm saying.
Not when you need other things. No, like an edge rusher, an offensive lineman. Yes, no, that's.
Hey, you know what the big take I've taken out of OTAs comes from the coaching staff. Accountability, but from one Eric Bieniemy.
Yes, you hear him.
You hear him. I mean, I haven't heard a coach like this since Ditka. Where every and I'm going off of clips I see from practices that we get at the Chicago Sports Network. Plug. But yeah, he seems to be everywhere. He's getting these guys' asses, and that's you need one guy
at least
like that on a staff to do that. I don't necessarily know if you need it to be the top guy, but you need the asshole coach to be there.
Yes.
And I think he's doing so far. Like I said, we haven't even got the pads yet once again, but so far I think he's been a welcome addition to this coaching staff, no doubt.
Yes, the ubiquitous enemy. That's what we call
Hmm?
him. Ubiquitous B.
But he's been outstanding. Um, yeah, OTAs. Anything you've seen on your end?
Again, I love with the word accountability, and you mentioned enemy, but also Antoine Underlell, just the fundamentals, making sure these guys are doing things the right way early, not just let it slide. Okay, and when I say the right way, no, you're supposed to cut off this foot. No, you cut on this count, or nope, you're doing these drills and you're not picking your feet up enough because that's going to be a problem. You hit this sled, this blocking sled. No, you got at it. You need to get underneath it and drive. All those things. It's
Or
like
the one that was popular on Sports Talk. I guess Caleb completed a pass and thought it was something, but it was the wrong read. And
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Johnson like got on him like that's not the read and that's not the yeah, you completed it, but in the game that's possibly an intercept. Like it, so it was stuff like that I was hearing is like, okay.
That's why I take that away, and I take also too that you can still tell that these coaches are learning, and Ben Johnson's in a new role, so I take that these guys are assessing themselves as well. And I'm not saying that no coaches or coaches beforehand never did that. I'm saying you're able to see it more, more visibly than before, and there seems to be more vocal accountability out there that we didn't see a lot of the last several regimes. 7 coaching staffs. We didn't see a lot of the vocal as it's happening. Don't tell me in a press conference afterwards, oh, the guys have to this and that. No, I want to hear it out there on the field. I want to see, and not that, but see how these guys are taking to the coaching. That's important too. Especially on defense. You got a lot of veterans on defense, and they were very successful the last year and a half under Eberflus, and how they were able to execute what they needed to do to be successful. Dennis Allen, he's got all the credibility. He's coming in. It's a new system. There's going to have to be a buy-in, and you've got more veterans that have played together on the defense with success. The offense has had success. They can't say shit.
Mm-hmm.
Defense is like, yo, dude, we was top 5, and the offense stunk. And we was good last year, up to a point when blah, 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 blah. What you got, Dennis Allen? So they're going to have that buy-in. And it seems as though these coaches have, I don't use the word reins. I hate that. But these coaches have there's control, and there's confidence, there's control, and there's not a floundering. I don't see this coaching staff in a floundering situation. Or in a fishing situation, trying to figure it out as they go along. It's like, okay, this is where that doesn't work. It seems very professional right now, and so that's a good thing, man. So yeah, I think that the off season so far has proven to be something that was a good building block, a good first step going forward. I'll say this real quick. I remember. Some time ago, right before Caleb was drafted, during that whole aspect, I remember someone asking me something about Caleb, and I was like, well, to me, Caleb, his success, you're going to need a coach just like Mike Holmgren was with Brett Favre, because Caleb is a gunslinger. Caleb loves it when a play breaks down. That's when he gets to shine in his mind's eye. He's so used to doing it. He's so used to throwing on a run. He's so used to hopping in the air and throwing it. And he can do it, but doesn't mean you should always do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you need somebody to stop you from always doing that and say, no, motherfucker, this is not the play. You run the play like this. And Holmgren used to tear his hair out with Brett Favre. To be like, you got this colt on your hand. You got this guy that can make things happen and be magical at times, if you will. But damn it, dude, I need you to do the simple shit simply, execute. And I think we have that now. And you talk about the offseason, since we've been gone away, when Caleb didn't have that, you had him talking to his dad, and then his dad talking to the press. And that's not a good combination. Hence that book that
the book,
I don't know if it's come out yet or not. But Caleb saying like, hey, I'm in a room and nobody's in there. I'm watching film by myself, which sounds worse than what it really is. But to his point, he's like, I don't know how to be efficient. I need someone to show me. Basically, what that's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he was watching it by himself. You got to do stuff by yourself, no doubt. I mean, it's on you. You're the professional. But how to do it and be efficient, particularly at that position, which is why, if you guys remember me saying last season, what pissed me off so much about Poles, why I was like ready to be done with him. I
No
thought
veteran backup.
no veteran back is the most egregious thing you could possibly do. Like, what the are you doing? And that's one of the first things Ben Johnson, they got Case Keenum.
Mhm.
So I know he's making the team because he's a de facto coach. He's going to be on the team.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't care what Bajan does. Keenum's on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, another point to this coaching staff having a purposefulness and knowing what they're doing. You know, how they get there, that's going to be the growing part, but they know what they want to do. They know where they want to go. How they get there every season, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, obviously, and this being the initial season with this team and organization and this group of people. But I'm not confused at all about the fact that they know what they're doing. You know,
Seems like this year would have been a good Hard Knocks season.
Might have been a better one, yeah. But they don't do it when the two team changes.
No,
coach,
you can't.
right?
Yeah, new coach.
Oh, okay.
You get the automatic bypass. Yeah, by doing that. The book American Kings, a biography of the quarterback. I don't know if it's out. Is it out yet?
I don't think it's out yet.
But what was your thoughts? What were you guys' thoughts when all the stuff started coming out about his dad? You know,
I mean,
what
but
his
this
dad
was
said
stuff
to
we
him.
heard
Yeah,
coming into the draft process. So it
that's
was
why I said
like
I didn't have an issue.
so it was like, what the hell are we bringing this shit up for now?
And
It was talked about then.
And I didn't have an issue with his dad having those opinions.
No,
because I would have been concerned too coming to the Bears and seeing what happened with Mitch Trubisky and
Justin Fields. I mean, I think we talked about
quarterbacks going back to before that.
I think we talked about it at that point in time. I mean,
we did, yeah,
because we were wondering if the Bears were going to forget all that and still take them, and they did. So
that led a lot of us saying trade the pick, get a haul.
Right. Yeah.
He don't want to be here, so that's fine. There's enough quarterbacks in this draft. You can still get one and get a haul.
So that's why I was like, when it started coming out of like okay, this is something everyone knew about already. Is it just downtime in the news circuit that we just want to bring something up?
I think what made it make news was the fact that it was Caleb's dad saying this is some of the things that Caleb was saying to him.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're hearing that this young man is articulating it, not so much that it's his agent or the people around him. He's feeling some kind of way. And if he's feeling some kind of way, he just got here. What kind of problems are we going to have? Is this the stuff that we were concerned about? Is this the prima donna stuff, thing that we have, prima donna stuff that we have to worry ourselves about? But I'm with you guys. It's like I remember saying, like, dude, if I'm his dad or if I'm his agent, I'm doing whatever I can, come hell or high water. I don't want him anywhere near Chicago. And I remember saying that like in November and December, of his last year at USC. I'm like, there's no way. I'd like, go to Washington. At this time, we didn't know where Washington would be, but we figured they'd be a top 5 pick. It's like, give him to Washington, get him home, make
That's his hometown, right?
Right. It only makes sense. And then to have the year that he had, it's like, see, all those things that they worried about, all those things talked about, it came to pass. The Bears are in free fall. They need a new coach. They got rid of a defensive coach to know what he was doing. And Caleb was running around. Nobody was helping him. This organization, you hear it on all the pundits. I mean, the Fox guys on Fox couldn't stop talking about how bad the Bear organization is and how it's never going to do anything and all the other stuff. How many times we keep seeing a 4,000-yard passer come up and just all the types of stuff. So, yeah, I think it
after most of them picked us, some of them had us getting to the Super Bowl with the same staff and all that. Like,
right. So I think the book and everything, it just reminded everybody, and it kind of said, well, what's the mindset of this guy that was taking number 1 is supposed to be a franchise? Like, is he all in? And I think that's where the story gained some traction and legs in off season. to where Caleb had to actually come out and remind everybody, like, no, like I wanted to come here. When I said I wanted to come here, I meant it. I want to be the guy that leads, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure he feels better now that the coaching staff
And
is
that's
gone.
my thing. And that's my thing about it. It's like that was before all this shit he got now. Like he's like
in a good space.
In a really good space. Like so, like he ain't speaking on the current situation. He's speaking on the past. And we saw how the past went.
Yeah.
I mean, so like that's why I'm like, why is this such a big deal? Like he's speaking on Eberflus, who got fired.
Right.
You see, Flus came out and had an interview and talked about it. He said, "It's not really true. You know, we always work with him on film, and you know, each week they try to, you know, sort of cover that up. Yeah. Of what was said.
Just focus on the Dallas Cowboys.
Dude.
Hey, the book gets released September 9th.
Just in time for the NFL
Just in time for week 1. I'm sure
it's funny how that works out.
Again. Yeah. So look forward to that. Hey, let's move over. NBA playoffs. Did you guys get into it?
I did.
Yeah. That was a good.
And you know, I don't even like the NBA, so
same here.
I actually.
Wow, really? You guys don't like the NBA?
Yeah, I don't watch that stuff during the season. I watch it in the playoffs.
I'm supposed to tell our fans that. I don't ever watch it. Don't watch the game.
It's true.
I mean,
I only watch the Bulls because I have to.
Man, listen, look. Here's a big reason why. How the hell we didn't get a game on Father's Day?
Yeah, that's
NFL
crazy.
Would never.
Crazy.
The NFL would never.
Crazy.
We didn't get it
for a Monday night game 6. That would you're right. That would never happen. It's not like they played Saturday night.
Right.
They were off.
Oh, yeah.
I think game 5 was Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then they didn't play again until Monday. That's crazy. So yeah, that's the NBA for you.
But the playoffs was good. They were good.
Injuries aside, yes. And the fact you get 3 guys with
but
problematic. But
outside of last night's, them other ones really wasn't.
They weren't. Yeah, they
wasn't really factors.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, it's the Celtics.
I mean, Jason Tatum, they were losing by like 16 when that happened. With 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, could he have pulled a miracle? Possibly.
Oh no! Look, I'm sorry. Let me. I didn't mean in terms of like the injuries affected the playoffs. I meant the fact that it's kind
devastating
of
to the playoffs.
kind of a down note.
Devastating to the playoffs.
You lost some key players.
Yeah.
To it, Tatum, Lillard,
and need to go ahead and say if it's a calf strain, sit
out.
Yep.
It seems like everybody that have a calf strain that goes out to try to play on it ruptures the Achilles.
Yep.
Like it's like now.
But you know what though? What would the narrative have been if Halliburton sat?
Well,
he didn't come. Now you could have said, he can't go.
Man, but I don't feed into that though.
You got 3 big injuries that have happened in a playoff situation where the calf strains led to Achilles. You had Durant, which was obviously the more prominent one, and then Lillard early on, and then you saw Tatum. An NBA team that was your current champion. And you never know. I know they were down, but we've seen a team.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm just saying that what with the Kendrick Perkins out there,
of course we know how they all do. I mean, they're gonna all say, "Man, you got to come out and do it for your team," but then don't realize how devastating this stuff is. I mean,
that's all next season.
We're so at the D Rose time, it was the ACLs.
Right. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's all the Achilles.
Achilles, yeah.
Like we don't know what these guys are gonna come back and be. I know people love Kevin Durant and put him on this pedestal, but it can be said that he hasn't been the same Kevin Durant since that injury. It can be said. Now, granted, it will be more so on a team aspect than individual.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say more so team because
but
he looked good in the Olympics.
but it like it's just uh, it's crazy because those are three guys that will not play next year.
Yeah.
Right, because it happened so late in the season. They're not
Like
going to be ready.
That's a 12-month injury.
Yeah, because Durant didn't come back for a year.
no,
You know,
he didn't come back
Kyrie
that
was-
first year in Brooklyn.
Nope. Nope.
Right.
I think Durant's a lot older, and Dillard's a lot. I mean, Dillard, Jesus, Lillard's a lot. Dillard, Jesus, Lillard's a lot older, but Tatum and Halliburton are real young guys still. And Halliburton, he doesn't use his athleticism to make him dynamic on the court. I'm not saying he's not athletic. I'm just saying he's not Tatum. He's not Lillard, who has to use his quickness and his jumping to get a shot and what have you. Halliburton, I think of the three, I think Halliburton's game won't be as affected per se.
Question. What? The more I'm sitting here thinking about those four guys that were named when it comes to the Achilles, all of them are more perimeter guys. Shoot jumpers, shoot threes.
Tatum might be the one that goes.
Yeah, Tatum probably shoot the most threes of all of them.
Right. I'm not debating that. I'm saying of those four, he's the one that probably goes to the cup more than those other guys to do a slam or whatever. But you're right. They're all more 60+% perimeter oriented.
Like so, it's like, is that a factor in the injury? Because, like I said, when you go back to the Derrick Rose time with the knee injuries that were occurring, with him having the ACL, the meniscus, Russell Westbrook had a meniscus. A bunch of them had knee injuries. It was because they were so explosive. It's like, is the
all the jumping, a strain
on the shooting jumpers? Is that
a calf creating creating Achilles tendon, situation connect?
It's weird. It's just weird. Like it's like it's becoming an epidemic.
Could it be they're not getting enough rest?
I think that's definitely a factor to some degree. Especially
in what way, though?
Well, tie into what you're saying.
I mean, you're playing. I mean, they're all playing Olympic basketball, or whether it's world championships or you're playing international basketball during the off season. So you're not getting enough rest, right?
Did Lillard play?
Yeah.
No. Lillard wasn't on the Olympic team this year.
Yeah, I don't think Halliburton was either, was he?
He was. Halliburton was.
He was? Okay.
Him and Tatum ain't get much burn.
Right. We'll say they didn't really play a lot though. So but
they're still active though.
I think
so that's why I'm wondering if is it the rest in the off season that they're not getting? Like, because we're supposed to be in a time where they say technology and medicine is so much better. But how are these guys getting so much hurt? They complain about rest and they low manage.
Yeah.
They do all these different things and they still get hurt. So what is it?
Well, I don't know if it's a thing. I think it may be several factors. I think you guys mentioned several of them. I think it is the fact that you look at the game now, there is style of play. There is so much more 3-point shooting. So these guys are constantly taking jump shots, setting up, take jump shots. And that's not even including what they do in practice. So there's not as much going to the hole. So the same muscle is being used and reused and used. So I think that's part of it. I think technology is part of it. I don't know if I'm right. I'm not even saying I think I'm right. I'm not even saying that. But I remember the first time I heard of an Achilles injury is football. I think it was either Testaverde or Marino, one of those two guys. They weren't even doing anything, and like the guy shot by a sniper. And I'm thinking like, well, did that happen a lot? I don't remember that happening a lot when I was a kid. Like, what's the difference between now and then? And you're talking Marino and Testaverde aren't athletic quarterbacks running up and down the field, right? So how did this happen? And Testaverde was just turning around handing off the ball, And I'm like, what has changed? Technologically speaking, the shoes. The shoes became more advanced. I think the way these shoes are constructed, it adds a bit of a strain potentially on area because the arches are higher now. The way the shoe is constructed to help you with your arch support may actually be causing a bit of a strain when it comes to your Achilles. And you keep making these jump shots, you keep landing, and these guys, they don't keep the shoes. They keep changing. They get new shoes all the time. So your shoes never quite get broken into. They're always the same high arch. So I'm not saying they're shooting in high heels, but let's just say you have some kind of arch support. If a person were shooting in something that raised their arches or raised their, to where you're putting an additional strain on your calf / Achilles area, and you continually do this, and you've got these games, and it's I'm looking like, okay, well, back in our day, by our day I mean 9 because you guys are younger than me, but back in the 80s and the early 90s to some degree. Michael Jordan, I know he's an anomaly, but a lot of guys like him, you had, all these athletes, and these guys are going to the cup and slamming, and Dominique didn't have any Achilles stuff. He didn't have his knee injury. Ron Harper had one, but yeah, athletes are going to happen here or there, but for the most part, these guys are going to the cup, slamming all this stuff, and they're taking their jump shots, but they didn't seem to have these kind of injuries, and they were playing 75 to 82 games, season after season. The Bulls, what, you talk about 2-3 peats? You know how many additional games that is? Mm-hmm. So what's the difference? I'm like, well, the shoes have become more technologically advanced. It's not just Nikes now. I'll be curious to see. It's everybody. You got Under Armour, you got Adidas, all these shoes, and they're competing. So what makes my shoe better than yours? Well, we give you better arch support. It's not just a pump up, little thing, like D Brown did. It's got air cushion under here, and you've got this, and you've got all these different things. I think the technology, the wear and tear, and the fact that it's not just that it's 82 games, but how the 82 games are spaced. Sometimes you get too many back-to-backs, with these guys, and I think it invariably, all these things mesh in to create a situation where you're having these players, and you guys mentioned these guys are perimeter guys. You would think you'd be the guys going to the hole that would be getting the injuries. Steph Curry had ankle injuries the majority of his career starting out, in the NBA, So yeah, man, it's key. I mean, I think like the basketball athletes, why aren't the football players having more, I would think they'd have, they get so many soft tissue injuries. Why aren't we seeing more Achilles tears? But it's I'll be comparing apples with oranges here or what have you.
It's just weird.
Yeah, but I think it's a mixture of a lot of those things that you mentioned for certain. And I think the technology, I think the wear and tear, and I think the fact that the game has changed to where these guys are, 60 plus 70% of the time they're shooting 3-point shots. It's kind of boring to some degree, but
maybe it's the number 0.
Maybe it's none of them.
Them last 3 all number 0.
All number 0. I'm just saying. What was Gilbert Arenas?
Age 0.
Well, no, I'm saying, what was his injury?
Oh, Omenitis.
That's what cut his career short.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was a leg injury. It wasn't like an upper body injury. It was a lower body injury. But I don't know.
I don't think it was Achilles though.
No, I don't think so. It might have been like knees. It wasn't like a blood clot, nothing like that. I don't think it was waist or hamstrings. It might have been like a knee.
Anyway, it doesn't. It's neither here nor there. Anyway, I was just trying to be funny.
Zero conspiracy.
Zeros. Sorry. OKC.
Congratulations.
This team, I mean, man, 68 wins on the season. they blew through the regular season, and
This
yet
organization.
nobody talked about them all season long. It's crazy. And man, Sam Presti, I mean, what he's done to acquire all these picks,
Still
and
got
they
They
still got.
still got picks.
Like
They got two this year.
I think they have four. I think they have 14 first round picks in the next 7 years.
That's insane.
Crazy. This team is going to be, and they, obviously everybody's not going to be able to stay, long term.
That's
but
fine.
they can get. I mean, you get SGA signed, you get Chet signed.
Thing is, none of them have to be signed at the same time.
Yeah, that too.
That's a way you get to keep them a little longer.
Yeah, yeah. You get the Larry Bird rights. This team is going to be around for a while, I think.
Yeah, and this
could be the next dynasty.
Good basketball IQ. They're long limbed. They're not the most physical team, but they're not piranhas like Ozzy would say, but they're annoyers, man.
They play good defense.
Yeah, they don't turn the ball over much.
No.
And one thing, when it comes to Shai, he's going to play his game.
Yeah, he'll get a
you're not gonna speed him up.
Nope.
You're not gonna slow him down. He's gonna play his game, and if he's off, he's off.
Yeah.
But more often than not, he's on. That's why he's the MVP. So, like, crazy. I mean, you might not like to hear this, but kind of reminds me of Devin Cleveland. Like, that's how I view Devin Cleveland's game. Former Kenwood guy who he left.
He's gone now. Thank you.
Prep school.
Thank you for reminding me.
Hey, Simeon, we lost ours too. We lost Andre Tyler. So, but yeah,
that's all right.
But a kid like that just plays the game his way. Not going to speed him up, not going to slow him down. He's going to stay at one pace all game, and it's going to be at a medium pace where he's always under control. And that's what I see it from Shai. And it's like last night, I didn't even watch the whole game, and it didn't even notice that he had 29 and 12.
No,
no. When did he do this? Seemed like every dynamic bucket came from Williams.
Yeah, they showed him. It was fourth quarter, and he was at the time he had 25, and I was like, I don't remember the last, but I was getting on him at that point in the fourth because he had missed a few shots, and I was like, man, what the hell? And then they said he had 25. I was like, okay, all right, maybe I'm not watching all that intently, but man. He can play. I do need one thing from him though. Converse has got to design a better shoe for him, a better looking shoe.
He's Canadian.
Not a good look, man.
He's Canadian. He doesn't care.
Not a good look, man. Not a good look. And I know, man. Converse, they're owned by Nike. They got great designers.
A lot of these dudes' signature shoes are trash.
Oh my god.
He's Canadian.
That's a bad looking shoe, man. I'm sorry.
He's Canadian. I tell you, it doesn't matter.
Canadians have they have sense of style.
Yeah, the ones from Toronto.
Yeah. But he's from Toronto, isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's from somewhere around there. What's up?
So they presented this on. It might have been Get Up. One of them shows where they asked, this was before OKC won it. It was, will Shai go down as the greatest Thunder of all time?
Yes.
If they win it. And they were people trying to say, matter of fact, it was Speak.
Okay.
And TJ Houshmandzadeh and I felt like all of them was basically saying no. Like, we need to put respect on Westbrook. And, man, fuck up.
No.
Excuse my language. F all that.
He won the title.
Westbrook, KD, and Harden was together.
Yeah,
Right.
And didn't
Three
do
MVPs. 3 MVPs.
and didn't do this.
they did get to a finals,
but didn't win.
They didn't win it.
No.
Jalen Williams ain't better than none of them.
Individually.
That's his second best player.
Yeah.
Like,
nah. He's the number one Thunder
of all time.
Of all time. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not done.
He's not done. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Like he has everything that y'all got, except KD. You got one more ring.
What a different team.
But I'm just saying. I'm speaking now on just overall legacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He got everything that y'all got, plus more when it comes to Westbrook, because Westbrook, you don't have a title. KD, you just have one more title than him. But like you didn't even lead that team.
No.
Like the kid, honestly, could be said he has a better resume than y'all have just as NBA players. Right.
Right. And he's been in the league, 10 years
or less years?
7 years, 8 years less. And I'd venture to say he's more of a fan favorite than those guys are. Because his personality, like he's so unassuming, and fans love it when you're unassuming and humble, but you win. I'm not saying they hate KD, but KD left the way he left. That ruined how they felt about him. Westbrook stayed.
No doubt.
Westbrook stayed, but Westbrook was always a surly kind of guy. So it's like, we like him, but he's kind of surly. Harden was like, he left free agency, and they probably blame him for not winning because he was horrible in that series against Miami.
Shea can leave and will forever be
Devette Badring.
Loved.
No, he can't leave.
No. I'm just saying, if he was to leave at any point, he would be loved.
Yeah.
Those guys would.
They blame the organization. Guys. They say, why didn't you do better? Why didn't you try harder to keep him? They blame the organization before they would blame Shea.
They can't. He's got to be a lifelong Thunder at this point.
He probably will, but he's Canadian. I don't see him try. I'm joking. I mean it, but I'm joking too, because this dude still drives. I think like the first car he had or whatever. Like he's not a superstar, need the lights type kind of superstar. OKC, that media, that type of media demographic fits his personality. Just like he's basically the scoring guard or the wing version of Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was perfect in San Antonio. His personality fit. It's just like, I can be unassuming. I'm not a superstar. I don't need to go anywhere. I'm good. I like San Antonio.
And Shea experienced LA.
That's
where he was.
Yeah.
Before coming to OKC.
Yeah.
And has not even shown a inkling of being a diva.
Not at all.
So
because he's Canadian. No, I mean, but yeah,
because he's Canadian.
so I really think
our Canadian viewers are going to really be like, "What is this?"
That's the title of the episode.
He's Canadian. Oh man!
Man, shout out to them. Heck of a season. Is this an all-time great team?
Not yet. You can't be all-time great in one season.
68 wins.
You cannot be all-time great in one season. You had a great season. You had one of the better seasons in NBA history, but are you an all-time great? All-time great? No. The reason why the Celtics stick out is because that Celtic team had already won a championship, and this was like a championship that the 86 Celtics had already won prior to that.
86 Celtics won 67.
No. What I'm saying is that team, the core of that team, had already, Larry Bird had already won.
They had won two.
Right. So this was a crowning achievement. This was like like those teams were good, but this one is even better than the ones that won. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Lakers. Like this team was good, but this team repeated. They beat the 86 Celtics. So this Laker team is trying to go for a three-peat. They're all time, that's if you ask the Lakers, especially Magic Johnson and those guys, they'll say that team that beat the 86 Celtics the following year, that 87 Lakers, that's like one of the greatest Lakers teams up to that point. With the Bulls, it's like, man, they had already three-peated. They were great, but these motherfuckers came behind and they got 72 in. So it's an all-time great. You same thing with Golden State.
But nobody would say the 91 team was an all-time great team.
No.
But the 91 team only won 61 games.
But I'm just saying, in that moment,
I understand what you're saying.
It was because of
this
what
team
came
won
after.
68, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, True. But it'll be the greatest when you can compare it to other iterations of that same organization.
Because if they don't win next year,
it's like you just one and done. I mean, you almost have to get a repeat, or at least be like Golden State, or be like the Blackhawks were and win one every other odd year, or something like that, where you're
like
winning
the Spurs.
Like the Spurs,
By the way, the 92 Bulls are probably the best team, the best Bulls team of all time.
Sorry.
No?
Yeah, that's all time. The 96?
Out of your mind.
How did you not say the
92 Bulls could beat the 96 Bulls?
I think the 93 Bulls was better than the 92 Bulls.
No, the 92 Bulls.
They the same damn team.
The 93 Bulls only won 57 games that year.
That's because they retired from winning the championships. Right. And Michael and Scotty had played in the Olympics before. They were just running on fumes.
I don't know. That 92 Bulls team was tough, man.
I'm not saying it wasn't tough.
The second three-peat was better than the first three-peat.
Dude, that 96 team, you better get the 86 Celtics, the 87 Lakers, one of them Golden State teams before I even put the 92 Bulls team up against them.
The 92 Bulls won 67 games. All right. You had prime MJ.
Okay.
A very good Scottie Pippen.
Sure, not as good as the one.
Dream Team Scotty. All right.
Dream Team Scotty.
Horace was basically at his best.
Which means what exactly?
Come on, man.
Is he a Hall of Famer? Is he a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay, then. Dennis Rodman, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Tony Kukoc,
Horace put up more buckets. Kukoc is a Hall of Famer.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out here. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
I'm just that man. That bench was good, man.
As was the 96 bench.
Yeah, Craig Hodges.
Okay, we couldn't play a lick of defense, but okay.
But he could score the ball though.
Yeah, but Kerr was okay. You got Steve Kerr.
You still have BJ.
You got Kerr who shoot at a high percent. You got Ron Harper. I'll take Ron Harper for BJ any day.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good team.
Yeah.
Randy Brown led the league in steals per minutes played.
And he played like 0.6 minutes a game.
Have you ever heard Gil talk about Jordan? He was playing with Mike one time, and he said, "Man, I like your game. You remind me of one of your teammates." And so Gil was like, "Oh man, he must think about Scotty."
He told Randy Brown.
He told Randy. He said, "Yeah, you remind me of Randy Brown." I'm like, "What?"
I never heard that. That's hilarious.
Hey man, the stuff that be happening on that show
that show is outstanding.
Be hilarious. That stuff be having me crying.
He said Randy Brown. Oh man, that's funny. That is funny. Hey, the Bulls, by the way. OKC won 24 games 3 years ago? Is that right?
Something crazy.
25 games.
Mm-hmm.
And they are NBA champions 3 years later. What are the Bulls going to be able to do here?
Nothing.
Take a moment, think about it before you give an answer.
I mean, I feel like
we have been fooled, bamboozled. AK is worse than goddamn Garpax.
I want Garpax back. At least with Garpax, we were in the playoffs. We were a 6 seed every year.
They
These
sold
dudes,
us.
man,
They
they are
sold us on the Denver stuff.
these
And-
guys are content with being the playing 10th seeded team.
Oh, we paid Patrick Williams.
Why?
Because you had to.
No,
you didn't.
He's your
we
first
had to
pick.
play Zach LaVine.
I blame
That's
Glenn
who
for
we
this.
had.
This was Glenn's guy. Glenn was all that Patrick Williams.
I did pick
And
him.
I thought Glenn was a genius
Oh my god!
because that was a sleeper pick that he gave. It wasn't like he thought the Bulls was actually going to pick him. That
Oh,
was a
man.
sleeper pick.
The question was, who were the Bulls going to pick? I got that right.
You did get it right.
I didn't say that the Bulls should take him because he's the best pick. I said this is who the Bulls are going to take for these reasons, and I was correct.
That dude is a straight bum, man.
And they gave him 90 mil. Unbelievable.
They just gotta have some type of creative thinking going. You know, Houston was able to trade for KD. You know, something has to be done here. Something. They got to figure out what they can do to get that guy 90 miles north of us.
Man,
Giannis.
dude.
That's what needs to happen.
If that happened,
that's what
at least
they need
make
to do.
the games fun.
Yeah. Well, I will say, the games have been fun here.
I mean,
They put a good product.
Giddey, Kobe White.
Yeah.
I really like Montes.
Yes.
I really like Montes.
But that's it. They're not winning.
No.
They're
It's
entertaining.
It's an entertaining product.
Because you get Giannis with those guys.
And they fill up the building every night.
You get Giannis with those guys, that would be something.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I'm
don't know
saying.
if they're creative enough to do that.
They got to get creative.
And I don't know what
That's
assets.
my charge. That's my charge.
Desmond Bain went for 5 first-round picks to the Magic.
That's insane.
Mikal Bridges, same thing with New York.
That's insane.
Yet the Lakers can fucking get Luka for just AD.
A song and a dance. Well, AD's.
KD.
AD is a Hall of Famer.
I don't give a damn. Injury history.
It's not. You're right.
You don't give and Denver gets. Dallas gets the #1 pick. Come on, tell me the NBA ain't rigged. Tell me they about to goddamn get Cooper Flag.
So I'm saying, why?
This is crazy.
You're the third largest market in the league.
Look, man.
Why isn't the league looking out for us?
KD just went for Jalen Williams, Jalen Green, the other Booker, and the 10th pick, and 5 second-round picks.
I'm saying the league needs to look out for us.
Come on,
they need to rig something for us. I'm with you, Smoke.
This is crazy.
I'm with you.
The Knicks are good. The Pacers are good.
There you go. The
Celtics are good.
They have to pay attention to Chicago. And
Detroit in the playoffs.
Detroit's in the playoffs. They were worse than us 2 years ago.
But wait, this is back in the heyday of our times, the era. And who's missing? The goddamn Bulls can't get right.
There's no Atlanta Hawks. Dominique was, doing stuff. Atlanta's.
Yeah, they just like us. They content being a playing team.
They invested in Trae
I don't
Young.
get it. I don't get it.
It is weird. It is weird. For the hotbed at a grassroots level that basketball has always been in Chicago, for it to be so listless over the last several years is just, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's I don't even know what to make it. It's like, well, I guess it's like the Detroit Red Wings not being good in Detroit any longer. It's like you hockey synonymous with Detroit. When's the last time they did anything?
Late 90s.
Yeah. We might be the basketball version of the Detroit Red Wings. It done shit since the 90s.
Wait, we got the 12th pick on Wednesday night,
And
so
what's
yeah,
that supposed to mean?
maybe we can get a
It's not even a
Tyrese
deep.
Halliburton at 12.
It's not even a deep draft. I think wasn't last year supposed to be a better draft, deeper draft.
Yeah, I honestly I haven't really looked into the draft.
Dude,
I
after
know
like four
Cooper
or five
Flag
picks,
is at
right?
1.
Well, no, I take that back. I think this year actually is supposed to be a pretty decent class, but I don't know if there's by decent that means maybe the first 7, 8, 9, 10 picks should be pretty good. I mean, you got a kid out of Maryland, supposed to be a couple of kids out of Maryland, supposed to be pretty good.
But
I'm sorry, out of Rutgers, this supposed to be pretty good.
the Bulls had a chance to tank, and AK came out at the deadline and said we're going for the playoffs, and
Wow,
he did.
I know, and they fought for whatever reason.
I don't get why.
I don't either because you're not going to get Harper's kid, which would have been nice. Him coming where his dad played ball. He won't be there at 12. Cooper Flag, as you just mentioned, is going to be gone. I think the other kid at Maryland might be there, the small power forward type.
Yeah, I think
Dude.
that's who they're looking at.
Yeah,
Which,
he's
well,
talented, but yeah, he disappears at times.
hey, I cut a tape. They were talking about this kid. What's his name?
Ace is it Ace something?
The kid from
Ace Bailey.
Maryland.
Ace
Not
Bailey.
Ace.
That's
Not
what I'm
Ace
talking
Bailey.
about.
Yeah,
No,
safe
not Ace
shit.
Bailey.
He's about the kid from Maryland.
From
Then
Maryland, yeah.
Queen, Derek
Uh,
Queen. It's Queen out of Maryland. That's the guy. That's their main player.
yes, Derek Queen. So they're talking about it, man. And I looked up the video that we had of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was all bricks.
Mm.
I can't show this.
His game reminds me of a little Mark Aguirre, not young Mark Aguirre from coming out of DePaul, but like Pistons Mark Aguirre, and a little Adrian Dantley like he's got a big butt. He knows how to use his body. He's not super athletic, but he can get his shot off. His game translates to the
Well,
pros, but
if he can score like Adrian Dantley, that's a steal.
he has really good ability. In the way that the NBA is now, he's not going to be a guy that they would necessarily initially going to double team. He can kind of the middle's not what it used to be. Like if he played like in the 80s and 90s, it might be a little more. He had to get a little bit stronger, but now with his length and size, he can operate in that mid-range game area, and I think he can do some damage. And it could be a part of your offense where you can facilitate things around him, not necessarily through him, but around him. But you're gonna need a really good point guard, and the Bulls potentially have that a guy who can pass the ball, a guy who can get you the ball. Who knows how to pass into the interior, can get a guy in a situation where he doesn't have to do a lot on his own. So it could work out for the Bulls, but he's not going to be running up and down the court trailing and dunking. Don't expect that. He's not going to be the guy feeling the other wing on a fast break. It's going to be Bazelis and Kobe and somebody else. But he gives you something that a lot of teams don't really do in the NBA as much, and have that kind of a post player. He's a bit of a throwback, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
All right. Wait, fellas, it's been real. It is good to see you guys once again, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Let's do this again soon. That's
yes,
going to do
indeed.
it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast on Apple,
Spotify.
Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch the video version on YouTube. Just search for HP53productions.com. Go to our page, and you will find us there. You can also catch the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs, and I guess the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and geez, I don't even remember who the co-host was.
But just tell you, man, it's When you're out of commission, man, it takes a moment.
Jeez, it's been a while.
It's just, you're getting over
the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson. There we go. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Kenny.
I'm sorry. Jeez.
You'll be getting an email.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be coming. Yo, Glenn.
Yes.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say here at Easy Smoking GM Podcast. We ain't saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
We'll catch you next week or at some point.